how you make people feel. People will actually come back to you time and time again because of the way that you make them feel. And the way that you make them feel links to the candidate experience, and that links to the service that you deliver. So we got really clear on what we wanted that experience to be for our candidates, from literally the first touch point that they might get from us, whatever that reach out might be and how that might be. So let's say it's an email, let's say it's a phone call, let's say it's I don't know, they might even see our brand. They might even see our brand somewhere for all the way through. And this is the important part, not just when somebody was placed with us, but way beyond that. So the touch point system, the nurture system, the experience they got continued. And that is why people came back time and time again. You're right. I mean, there are people, and I could track people. Like, there were people that we placed as graduates and then were MDs, 10 years later. And that was because, and they always used us. They used us as a client and they used us as a candidate because they got the right experience from us from both perspectives. And we all, I had the mentality, maybe the mantra was, my candidates become my clients, and my candidates are so important to me. And I think, I was talking to somebody just yesterday actually about their interview process with candidates. And I think so often, even though we might feel it in our hearts, we give our candidates a really good level of experience. Well, actually, have you put yourself through that experience that you give your candidates? Have you tested it? And have you felt how that feels? Because it's very different, isn't it, when you walk through in their shoes than actually, when you're looking at it from this point of view. Because even, yesterday, for example, I was going through with somebody their interview process and the questions that they were asking. And the questions were great, and they were all the questions they should be asking. And there were some that maybe, they hadn't thought about. The key thing that really struck me when I looked through the process was the feely, the touchy-feely element to it that was actually not necessarily there as a 10-star or 5-star experience. And so if you really take the time to get to know your candidate as though they were your best friend, or somebody in your friendship group, or somebody who's important to you, how would you write an email to that person if they meant something to you? How would you reach out to them and connect with them? And some of it is, people might think I'm talking about the fluffy conversation around it, and maybe some of it is that, but it's the rapport building. But it's more rapport, it's trust as well. Because when people trust you and they believe that you have their best intentions at heart, and that you honestly are there to work on their behalf and to make sure that you're there to support them, then you'll see a very different candidate. So it's about doing that. I mean, what I see is that people do an element of that, like maybe 20 or 30% of that, but actually they're not going that extra mile to really extend that beyond. And a big chunk of that is that nurture process that takes place actually when you haven't got a job for somebody, or when, there were a no, and did you get back to them? Yeah. So these are the tiny things. How many times that people think, oh yeah, I'll do that, but this candidate's now got a second stage, or this candidate's got an offer. So you kind of drop those ones that, oh yeah, I need to get back to them and give them their feedback, but I'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that later. And then you forget. And then it's gone a day, and then you think, oh shit, what was that? Sorry, I'm just swearing there, but it's okay. Oh shit, who was that candidate that I forgot to send that message to? Oh God, a couple of days are gone now. Oh, shall I even bother? Oh, maybe I'll just leave it. They probably know they're a no anyway. Or it could be something like that, or just it's like a kind of 1-word, 2-word message, and that that's going to make somebody feel like they are that sort of that product, really.